Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. Tonight, more chaos at the Washington Capitol.
The suspect exited the vehicle with a knife in hand.
Another police officer is killed. Also tonight, the variants, the vaccines, and the risks of a long weekend.
Putting all of our eggs in the basket of the vaccine is not a good solution.
Plus, a new wave puts a community in crisis.
You might survive from this, but someone you love might not.
How the pandemic caused a lumber boom.
Demand is here, the supply is here, so price just goes through the roof.
And we know the guidance, why don't we follow it?
We do have an opportunity here to mess it up badly.
Our doctors make a Friday night house call. This is The National. The quiet of a spring holiday was shattered this afternoon in Washington, D.C. Another tremor for a city already shaken, a jolt of sorrow for a police force still grieving. One officer was killed, another injured after a car rammed into them at a security barricade on Capitol Hill. The driver then shot dead. Katie Simpson now with what we know about the violent attack.
Still healing from the wounds of January 6th, the symbol of U.S. democracy again awash in police lights. First responders raced to the scene after the driver of this vehicle struck two officers at a Capitol Hill checkpoint and then rammed into a barricade.
The suspect exited the vehicle with a knife in hand. The suspect did start lunging toward U.S. Capitol police officers.
That's when at least one officer opened fire, shooting the suspect who later died in hospital. He's been identified as 25-year-old Noah Green, an Indiana man previously unknown to authorities.
It does not appear to be terrorism related, but obviously we'll continue to investigate to see if there's some type of nexus along those lines.
The two injured officers were immediately rushed to hospital, but it would not be enough.
It is with a very, very heavy heart that I announce one of our officers has succumbed to his injuries.
That officer, William Evans, or Billy as his friends called him. He had been a member of the U.S. Capitol Police for 18 years. The second officer remains in hospital in stable condition.
This has been an extremely difficult time for U.S. Capitol Police after the events of January 6th and now the events that have occurred here today.
On January 6th, Officer Brian Sicknick was beaten by rioters and died of his injuries. Two more officers died by suicide in the days and weeks that followed. Police today paid their respects to their fallen colleague as a procession left hospital carrying the remains of Officer Evans. Another devastating blow to this small policing community.
And Katie, despite today's attack, security won't be increasing on Capitol Hill.
Security is going to remain the same, and police are describing the suspect as a lone assailant. Now, this attack comes not long after some of the security fencing around the perimeter here was taken down and some of the extreme security was actually starting to relax. There's a divisive debate around it, whether more should be done, less should be done, and now this debate is only going to intensify after what happened today.
As we saw in your story, Katie, this has been devastating, of course, for the police force. What about for people who live around there?
It's another blow for the people who live here in D.C. Remember, January 6th was less than 3 months ago. The trauma from that is incredibly raw. And all of this is happening at a time when there's still a pandemic. People are unemployed. People are dying. D.C.'s numbers aren't that great when you look at the national picture. So this is just another traumatic event for people that live in a place that has witnessed a number of traumatic events in just the past few months.
All right, Katie, thank you. On this Good Friday, another long weekend marked by wariness and frustration. But Canada, of course, continues to struggle with the pandemic. The number of people vaccinated continues to rise. But at the same time, those high-risk variants are spreading quickly. Tonight, we're watching that race between vaccines and variants play out across Canada. Makta Gebrselassie begins our COVID coverage.
While these people lined up to get their vaccine shot, steps away, others squeezed in one last day on the patio.
That's been taken away from us quite a few times.
It's terrible. We know there is a virus, but I think sometimes it's a little bit too much.
But doctors don't think so. With COVID hospitalizations rising, they say Ontario's latest moves don't match the dangers.
The variants of concern have exploded in essential work communities, and really that is what's driving the pandemic in Toronto and Peel.
In Quebec, lockdowns are now underway in 3 cities. The strict measures sparked by major COVID-19 outbreaks, including at a gym in Quebec City. Today, demands for stricter measures in Montreal.
Since that these new variants are propagating with more efficiency, there are many more people among the young people that become infected.
Variants are also hitting young people hard in BC. The province is days into a 3-week circuit breaker with more restrictions. Indoor dining and worship services have been suspended, but the chief worry is transmission in social networks.
People are having social gatherings together, and many of the same people are working in the restaurant or hospitality industry, living in group accommodations.
In Ontario, even regions with fewer cases have to adopt tighter restrictions.
It's challenging. However, I totally understand.
This salon owner in Sault Ste. Marie welcomed customers back in February. Now she has to temporarily close again. She hopes for the last time.
It's just the one we have to take for the team to hopefully, sever this in its tracks.
In Ontario, the shutdown takes effect just after midnight, and it's expected to last at least 4 weeks. Magda Gebra-Celeste, CBC News, Toronto.
Now let's zero in on Lethbridge. It has one of Alberta's highest infection rates, and officials blame rule breakers. One home hosted 2 parties last month, and contact tracers are scrambling to contain the damage. Carolyn Dunn shows us the cost of carelessness or simply not caring.
Watching COVID cases surging in her own city, Tanya Gill is reliving the trauma of last December when she watched through a glass window as her father died in an intensive care bed.
There is nothing more real about COVID than watching someone you love die, making eye contact with an absolute angel of a nurse who's doing everything that she can to be present for everyone there, and seeing the grief of people you love, my mom and my brother, and not being able to be a part of it.
Even as some people line up for testing, officials know too many choose not to, and that means more undetected cases.
Increasingly, and this is my big concern, we are not able to link cases based on the histories. So there are random cases popping up across southern Alberta that are not linked.
Lethbridge was spared extremely high infection rates in the first 2 COVID waves. This 3rd wave is different, driven partially by a highly infectious variant and mostly by people breaking public health orders for social gatherings.
If everyone was simply following the measures that are in place, we would not be facing this. We would not be in the midst of what looks like a significant surge.
It has prompted local doctors to raise the alarm as they watch more and more COVID patients arriving at hospital.
And as we look forward to the coming weeks, if these trends continue, we will likely be at some serious ICU capacity issues.
Tanya Gill is frustrated with people not taking precautions.
You might survive from this, but someone you love might not.
Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Lethbridge, Alberta.
We know widespread vaccination is the ultimate key to ending the pandemic. And here's where Canada's rollout stands. Nationally, just under 14% have had their first dose. The rates are higher in the north, while most provinces sit between 10 and 15%. Quebec a little above the average, Manitoba and Nova Scotia trail. As for those fully vaccinated, while that is much lower, less than 2% overall. Again, though, the north way ahead. Everywhere else, somewhere between 1 and 5%. Now, things are picking up across the country as more vaccines arrive, though not as quickly as many Canadians would like. Thomas Dagla looks into the situation on the ground and what we can expect in the weeks ahead.
As vaccine arrivals ramp up, Canadians are lining up. In Toronto, those who qualified can get their slot and their shot the same day.
Within 7 minutes, I was able to book.
There were tons of open spots this morning.
This jet's early morning landing brought the latest shipment from Moderna. More than 500,000 doses, delayed at first, now being fanned out across the country this weekend. Procurement Minister Anita Anand keen to greet the new arrival at the warehouse.
We're expecting millions and millions of more doses over the next weeks and months.
The federal government says it's brought 9.5 million doses to Canada and expects 44 million in total by the end of June, then 110 million in all by September. But
certainly the vaccines aren't getting to the people that need them.
The calls continue for provinces to prioritize those who can't stay home, like in Ontario's Peel region, workers at Amazon warehouses, where several hundred have tested positive.
It'd be very helpful, I think, if we took our mobile vaccine units right up to some of those locations.
In BC, there was a plan to vaccinate essential workers with AstraZeneca, but that's on hold as Ottawa's advisory panel on vaccines is discouraging the shot for Canadians under 55 due to rare blood clots in Europe.
Putting all of our eggs in the basket of the vaccine is not a good solution. I think a combination of the public health measures plus the vaccine that might be a bit delayed because of these safety concerns, which seem real, is appropriate.
In New Brunswick, they're putting up with the rain to get AstraZeneca, and the federal government says there's more of that on the way.
So are you saying you're not putting on the brakes in any way for AstraZeneca at the moment?
No, remember that vaccine does have the approval of Health Canada.
For most Canadians, the wait continues. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, let's pick up on that point made about the AstraZeneca vaccine. British regulators will continue to recommend its use even after identifying more blood clots in those who received it. But keep in mind, those clots still remain very rare. Officials announced another 30 blood clot cases in a total of 18 million doses administered in Britain. They say the vaccine's ability to prevent COVID-19 outweighs that small risk of getting a blood clot. New data shows that 1/4 of Ontarians 75 and older still haven't had a first dose of any vaccine. A provincial advisory group says that one solution is to increase mobile vaccine units to give them shots at home. UN Remiliotis talks to a pair of doctors pushing for that to happen.
It starts with a pickup at a fire station parking lot. Paramedics who stored the vials meet the doctor who will take the vaccine to the most vulnerable. Dr. Krista Sinclair Mills and her team have made more than 300 house calls already. It feels urgent every time.
It's not a matter of convenience or anything for them. This is necessary. If we don't go to them, they don't get the care.
Sinclair Mills is a mobile senior care provider. She's delivering vaccines to patients who can't leave home.
How are you?
90-year-old Michiko Arsenault was eligible for a shot weeks ago, but she's too frail to get to a vaccination site.
All done, that's it. This is critically important. These are patients at high risk of complications from COVID. This is a life-saving intervention for these patients. This was a pleasure.
At least 75,000 Ontario seniors are homebound, and many more are at risk of being left behind. More than 300,000 older adults who live in the community have not received their first dose, either unable to make an appointment or unwilling to leave their homes. Experts advising the government say it's imperative more vaccines get to them.
I mean, some people have literally booked ambulances to cart their loved ones to some of these vaccination clinics. Without equitable distribution strategies to accompany equitable allocation strategies, you're going to leave these people behind.
Ontario is subsidizing transport for seniors to get to vaccine sites, but the call now is to add to it by bolstering a network of family doctors, paramedics, and home care agencies to do more mobile visits. They take time, but Sinclair Mills says they're critical.
It's not easy, but it is necessary. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
And she says, every single shot counts. Joanna Remiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
So how might life change after you get your shots? An indication today from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. It has updated its travel guidelines for some Americans who are fully vaccinated. The agency is not asking for COVID testing in that situation unless it's required by the destination. On the return home, there's no longer a need for quarantine, but it continues to warn against any non-essential travel. And today, the U.S. president had a warning as well.
The progress we've worked so hard to achieve can be reversed. Too many Americans are acting as if this fight is over. It is not.
More than 20% of American adults in the U.S. have been fully vaccinated, but case rates and hospitalizations are still on the rise. The spread of variants and flouting safety measures are largely to blame. At the trial of the former police officer accused of murdering George Floyd, a senior Minneapolis homicide investigator testified about Derek Chauvin's use of force. The CBC's Susan Ormiston has the latest.
I do. Lieutenant Richard Zimmerman, the most senior officer in the Minneapolis Police Department, condemned Derek Chauvin's actions.
Totally unnecessary. Pulling him down to the ground, face down, and putting your knee on the neck for that amount of time is just uncalled for.
Use of force is a critical question in this trial. Zimmerman said he could see no justification for that level of restraint.
That would be the top tier, the deadly force.
Why?
Because of the fact that if your knee is on a person's neck, that can kill him.
Zimmerman arrived around 10 p.m. the night Floyd died.
What's going on?
His job to help investigate what's called a critical incident when someone dies in police custody. Defense has argued the bystanders around the scene were hostile and a potential danger. Zimmerman disagreed.
I saw no reason why the officers felt they were in danger, if that's what they felt.
Stop resisting, man. I'm not. In handcuffs, any threat from Floyd went way down, he said, and the officer's duty was to protect him from injury.
Once a person is cuffed, you need to turn them on their side or have them sit up. You need to get them off their chest.
Why?
If you're laying on your chest, that's constricting your breathing even more.
So, in your opinion, should that restraint have stopped once he was handcuffed and prone on the ground?
Absolutely.
The trial will continue next week when the police chief is expected to testify. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Minneapolis.
The United States and Iran are heading to Vienna next week to hold indirect talks to revive the 2015 Iran nuclear deal.
The primary issues that will be discussed are the nuclear steps that Iran would need to take and the sanctions relief steps the United States would need to take in order to return to compliance as well.
5 other countries that signed on to the original deal will also be there. And although Tehran has ruled out face-to-face bilateral discussions with the U.S., its presence at the meeting is seen by Washington as a promising step forward. Former President Donald Trump backed out of the deal back in 2018. A major announcement in Canadian aviation today. Air Canada has grounded its proposed takeover of Air Transat. It had already been given conditional approval by Ottawa, but European regulators worried it would lessen competition and signal that they wouldn't sign off. In an already difficult pandemic environment, what could that mean for travelers? Rafi Boudjikanian takes a look.
Pack your bags often enough in Canada, and this will soon become apparent.
Sometimes we are paying like $800 just for a flight from Edmonton to Montreal or Toronto, and I have seen people going to Europe in $1,000 or even India in $1,000.
So the news Air Canada, one of the country's only big carriers, won't be able to buy Air Transat, one of the few others, is welcome among travelers.
It allows for competition and probably better pricing.
That's why approval wasn't likely from European regulators, who want a dynamic post-pandemic market when passengers fly en masse again.
While the arrangement agreement was in place, we didn't have any possibility to talk with any prospective buyer. Now we are free again to do it.
One of those options is another staple in the Quebec business world. Pierre-Carl Pellado, CEO of media giant Quebecor, reiterating today he'd like to buy Transat, also saying that's better for consumers. This industry watcher has some doubts.
Because of the pandemic and because the hit the aviation industry has taken, it's unclear as to what's going to be the consequences when we come out of this. And so the consequences for fares is going to be an open question.
Not everyone is so uncertain. Canada's other big carrier, WestJet, says it warned Ottawa about competition issues, and it's happy European regulators share its concerns. Rafi Bujikanian, CBC News, Edmonton.
A horrific train crash in Taiwan killed more than 50 people and injured many more. The rescue efforts inside a dark tunnel to reach those trapped inside the wreckage. Plus the scramble for lumber.
Demand is here, supply is here, so price just goes through the roof.
How the pandemic is making it more difficult to build that summer deck. And the intricate art behind a holiday tradition.
It is very heartbreaking after spending hours on a design and it cracks on you.
The patience and delicate work of an Easter egg. We're back in 2. Welcome back. It's being described as Taiwan's deadliest train accident. At least 50 people killed, dozens more hurt after a packed passenger train crashed along the country's east coast. Stephanie Mercier shows us the aftermath.
Rescue workers carry the dozens of dead from the wreckage. Survivors helped down from the roof, their path to safety. This passenger says people are still trapped inside, and the situation in the next car is worse. Others hurt but alive. She says her whole body fell to the floor and she hit her head and started bleeding. It's the start of a long weekend in Taiwan, and the train was full. Nearly 500 passengers, many of them families. The newer model was traveling along the island's mountainous east coast from Taipei to the city of Taitung. It was heading toward a tunnel when it's believed it hit an empty truck. This worker says the trailer of the construction vehicle slid off the road and crashed into the train. Authorities think the truck's emergency brake may not have been properly applied. Complicating the rescue, part of the train continued into the tunnel and derailed. Officials earlier said all the passengers had been accounted for, but later a spokesperson said there may still be more bodies trapped. Volunteers set up an aid station to treat minor wounds and offer food and comfort. 3 years ago, 18 people were killed in another terrible crash in Taiwan. An express train derailed through a tight turn. The government has ordered an investigation into Friday's crash. Small comfort for families gathered at this morgue to grieve and to pray. Stephanie Mercier, CBC News, Vancouver.
Authorities in Myanmar have expanded an internet shutdown. Despite that, organizers got the word out about this flower strike in memory of the dead. Hundreds have been killed in 2 months following a military coup. That includes at least 43 children, according to an international humanitarian group. If you're a homeowner and looking to renovate, you may hit a snag.
It was literally double the amount just in material.
Prices for lumber are soaring. Will they ease off? But first, many Canadians may be feeling worn down by this pandemic, but facing another wave and more lockdowns. Our doctors weigh in on the latest restrictions.
This is a new pandemic. We're now fighting a new enemy. The new variants are far more dangerous than before.
Ontario is hoping to put the brakes on surging COVID case numbers. Starting tomorrow, a province-wide shutdown will take effect, closing patios, indoor dining, and personal care services. Retail remains open at reduced capacities. Meanwhile, Quebec has shut down schools and non-essential businesses in 3 cities. Quebec City, Lévis, and Gatineau are under a curfew until April 12th.
We are likely to be in for a rough ride for the next few days.
And in British Columbia, there's what's being called a 3-week circuit breaker. Indoor dining is on hold, as are indoor fitness classes and worship services. All of this as officials are racing to get vaccines into as many arms as possible. So we thought this would be a good time to discuss some of these issues with two infectious disease experts, Dr. Lenora Saxinger, who is in Edmonton, and Dr. Zane Chagla in Mississauga, Ontario. And Dr. Saxinger, let me start with you. What is the situation in Alberta?
Well, in short, I actually find the numbers very grim right now. I mean, we're having increasing proportion of our cases from variants of concern, and the case numbers are really very high now, over 1,000 cases a day, and we haven't seen that for quite some time. We do not yet have the influx into hospital, but it's starting, and we would expect that to continue to go up over the next couple of weeks for sure.
And earlier this week, Dr. Saxinger, some doctors in Alberta urged the Premier, Jason Kenney, to implement some sort of circuit breaker, given the rise in cases, particularly of the variants, but no new restrictions have been brought in. Is that the right way to go?
You know, I actually really think that probably behind the scenes right now, there's a lot of debate back and forth about what restrictions will look like rather than whether or not there will be restrictions. I would have been more comfortable if something had been put into place before the long weekend, because I think that this will be a tempting time for people to start getting together again. And I'm really quite concerned about that. But I kind of expect we're going to be seeing some changes next week.
And Dr. Chagla, what are you seeing in Southern Ontario?
Yeah, I mean, case counts are rising, particularly in the GTA and Peel region. We're seeing younger people end up in hospital. We're still seeing some of the same demographic, older individuals, although many without past medical history. And I think the big thing is, particularly with my hospitalized patients and ICU patients, they didn't do anything to get COVID-19. They're often put in precarious situations, either by housing, by income, by work, by the people that provide care for them. Where they had to come into contact. There was nothing they could do. They couldn't mitigate the risk, and it's obviously quite tragic to see these people where societal measures won't necessarily have a big impact on them.
In Ontario, we heard a lot of talk about shutdown, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. And one of those things included closing down patios at restaurants. In British Columbia, Dr. Chagla, by contrast, household members at least can still dine on patios. What's your view on that kind of restriction in terms of trying to reduce infections?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about risk mitigation here, that people, when given the tools to do the right thing, can do the right thing. You know, a household going to an outdoor patio, particularly one that's not a tent, that's open to air, is a low-risk scenario. It's low risk to the servers actually serving them. And as long as they're adhering to that one household limit, I think it's very reasonable. And in fact, probably gives people an outlet to feel like they can do something normal. And so, I think there are reasonable opportunities. And I wish Ontario would have actually thought very carefully about invoking a rule like this. Because again, the last thing we want to do is drive those people that are on outdoor patios indoors and lead to more transmission.
And Dr. Saxinger, and I assume this is the case with many areas of infectious diseases, we're dealing not just with the medical and scientific part of this, but also the social part of this. And a lot of people are really missing social interaction. How do you balance that? What do you suggest for people in terms of being safe, but also the people who want to get outside and get together?
I have so much sympathy for that feeling. I think everyone is feeling it. I guess my comment is that a lot of people have done a great job so far, and it has been difficult, and they have made the tough choices to do the restrained thing, to choose the safe path, to not do the thing that they really wanted to do for a long time. And we're in a phase right now that's really coming into an end game, and we do have an opportunity here to mess it up badly, and it's not that much longer. And so really thinking creatively about all the things we've done so far that have managed to keep us together and choosing those for a while longer, I think is really my message, because, anyone who actually gets ill, hospitalized, and dies during this phase of vaccine rollout, to me, is even more tragic than all that has gone before.
Dr. Saxinger, as these numbers have gone up, we've seen it in Ontario and BC, Alberta, and some other provinces as well. I sense that people are feeling kind of despair and pessimism. From your perspective, both as a doctor, but also as a person who lives in Edmonton, how are you feeling?
You know, I think that it's a bit of a roller coaster. I keep on, every time someone tells me that they or their loved one who's at risk has had a vaccine, it lifts my heart a little bit. But it also has been a really terrible grind, and people are very tired of it. And I think a lot of people are kind of feeling close to just kind of throwing in the towel. But honestly, if you look at the long game, this phase is so important, and it's not that much longer. I really feel that everyone still has enough grit, I think, to pull themselves together and keep on doing those tough things as they have so well for so long to get us through the next even several weeks will make a very big difference.
And we see you, Dr. Chagla, nodding your head. How about last word to you, a last message to Canadians on this Good Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can see our future. I want to go to London, UK. This is a place that has been devastated by the pandemic, where B117 was the initial variant. And guess what? They're coming out of lockdown. They have a huge vaccination strategy where 50% of their population has received a first dose. London, a city of 9 million individuals, had 0 deaths on 2 consecutive days this week. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That's our future in 2 months if we can get to those numbers. We just need to buckle up now to get to that point.
But Dr. Chagla, when you look at London in the UK, what is the lesson there other than, you know, the signs of that there is light at the end of the tunnel? What's the lesson for Canada?
Yeah, I mean, again, we need time for vaccines to get in and positioning them properly, getting them into the population, getting them into people at high risk of hospitalization, getting them to areas where things are transmitting is going to have large impacts on this pandemic. We just need time to get there.
And Dr. Saxinger, we have less than half a minute. As far as you know, how are things going in Alberta with vaccinations, hesitancy, rollout? Is it going well?
At the moment, we are not short of people who want to get vaccines. That's still going well, and we're actually putting out vaccines as quickly as they're coming in to a large extent. So really, that is going okay, and I'm feeling quite optimistic about that.
Okay, you know what? You're feeling optimistic on that. Good place for us to stop for now. Thank you for giving us some time on this long weekend.
Thank you.
No problem.
Coming up, the journey from West Africa to the basketball courts of Halifax.
Trying to give back as much as I can and try to change lives.
Man behind a new youth facility with its own barbershop. Plus, Major League Baseball makes a move for voting rights. Major League Baseball is taking a stand against new voting restrictions passed in the state of Georgia. It's moved its lucrative All-Star Game and prospect draft away from Atlanta, Georgia's capital. Critics say the new laws are designed to suppress black voters. Among the provisions, making it a crime to offer food and water to voters waiting in line. Halifax Prep stands out among basketball programs, not just in Nova Scotia, but across Canada. And that's due to its founder, a former pro with a gripping story about how he's come to call the Maritimes home. Tonight, our colleagues from the African Nova Scotian Content Unit introduce us to Neofal Falahan, or as friends call him, Ming.
Finding gym time is ridiculous. It's a challenge. It's the biggest fight for any organization or team that happens in Nova Scotia. He just really wanted to change that.
I've always wanted my own spot where I can have the keys and just get in and just shoot some hoops. This facility is really, the purpose is to give back to the community. They're not going to be restricted to get in the gym if they want to and get some training in.
Certainly the idea was to have a dedicated basketball facility, which doesn't exist here or really anywhere in the Atlantic provinces. He hasn't necessarily reinvented the wheel, but to bring something that we don't have is the entire idea behind it.
I always like to think out of the box and trying to keep the kids in the gym as long as possible. So we've added a barbershop. We all know that kids love. I mean, I myself love to get my hair cut.
Sometimes a better haircut will make you feel better about yourself and build your confidence. We can carry that on to the courts.
We have a little massage table there.
I like to work with younger athletes to teach them how to recover and take care of their bodies, especially in this facility that's specific to basketball players.
We also have some drinks, and upstairs I think is my favorite one because you can just hang out, chill. There's a video games for the kids, there's foosball, ping ball. It's a facility, but it's more of a home.
The best thing about this is that, Ming makes this accessible for trainers and coaches and teams just like myself at any time of the day that works for us. It's perfect for guys like me.
Ming's a great guy, man. He's always there for the kids. That's just one thing about him. Even when they're down or not feeling great or they have something on their mind, maybe if they don't write it down, they can just come shoot some hoops or play foosball or things like that. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Growing up, we didn't have too many opportunities where we had pro basketball players coming in and speaking to us and whatnot. A lot of what we had to see is what we had to kind of seek out for ourselves. So to come in and have this in the heart of Halifax, where you can still have that same type of access, see kids coming here with joy and playing, I think it's needed.
It's a long journey. It's a really, really long journey from Benin, small country, French speaking. Took the plane by myself. No mom, no dad was around. Moved to the state, but fell in love with the game, and obviously then after the state moved to Canada, where retired here, having a wife and kids, and now I kind of started my company, a youth program, and trying to give back as much as I can and try to change lives.
This guy has a $500,000 education that he got for free through basketball, and that's been what we've preached and what he's preached from the beginning, was to use basketball, not to let basketball use you. So while he's not in the NBA and he's a 7-foot tall guy walking around the city, he has a bigger purpose than just putting the ball in the hoop. And it's to really just help kids and not necessarily even kids. Some of these guys are young adults. There's 23-year-olds that are calling him, for life advice. He really touches a lot of people that doesn't hit Instagram or necessarily their website, that people don't know about, and it's sort of just his calling.
In school, I'd say I was a good student, but I wasn't the best student at my full potential, and then Ming really believed in me and saw that I could do much better than what I could, and then I started to believe in myself. Not just that, just outside being a teenager growing up, Ming really helped me and molded me into who I am.
How Ming really cared for you, always wanted the best for you as a player,
Kind of gives kids from Halifax and Nova Scotia a way to be on the same platform in other cities while still being home.
For me to know what makes the kid tick, I need to understand him better. And the only way I can understand the kids better is by asking questions to the parents and make sure I have a relationship with them. That's kind of what you want from, the parents and the kids. You want to be a family while you're still training them. I have to be honest, first being black is pretty challenging. And also adding on top of that being an immigrant, it's very challenging. We have a lot of roadblocks, to be honest. A lot of no's, a lot of maybe, and never got back. What's next? Well, I think my goal is to partner with, trainers, coaches, any programs in a private school are looking to grow the game. Me starting this to show them that it's possible. Now it's more, let's work together, because at the end of the day, I can't do it by myself.
Don't worry, there's more to come. In the second part of the story, you'll see how challenging those next steps have been for Ming. Not just pushback from others in his industry, but a crushing setback that sparked a police investigation. That is Sunday on The National. Coming up, the lumber yards are sitting empty.
If I have nothing to sell, how do I justify this big staff?
The cost of surging demand and the people who are losing out. Plus,
Each Pesinka takes hours of tiny lines to complete.
and these eggs need a steady hand as well as lots of time. Stay with us. As if the housing sector wasn't topsy-turvy enough these days, the price of lumber has gone through the roof, assuming you can even find it. As Peter Armstrong explains, it's got suppliers and contractors scrambling.
These are busy days at Century Mill Lumber in Stouffville, Ontario. An unprecedented surge in demand has sent prices here soaring.
Demand is here, and supply is here, so price just goes through the roof.
The price is bad enough. His real problem is simply finding lumber at all.
As a business owner, you never want your customers to go to another guy because you're worried that they might never come back.
COVID has wreaked havoc on the lumber industry. Last spring, mills closed down. A wet winter made it hard to get logs to the mills. A surge in shipping of, well, everything has added to transportation costs, all while Canadians built in new work-from-home space to ride out the pandemic. Higher prices at the lumber yards means higher costs for contractors.
It's time for a rant.
Dave Kenny took to Instagram to vent about soaring prices. A client looking for a new deck and fence last year had delayed the project. He punched in the updated costs of the lumber and
bam! $15,400. It blew my mind how much it was. Like, it was literally double the amount just in material.
And it's not just deck boards and fencing. The price for a basic 2x4 has doubled since 2018. It takes a lot of 2x4s to build a house.
A typical, say, 2,500 square foot home, you're over $30,000 in initial cost for lumber.
So the lumber yard is bustling as Chris Black searches high and low for wood. His whole operation and his whole staff depend on him finding product to sell.
I do worry, like, if I have nothing to sell, how do I justify this big staff? You come here every day?
He hopes the surge will relent as COVID restrictions give way this summer, so life and prices can get back to normal. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
So much in that story that's so interesting. Up next, a tradition centuries old gets passed down for generations.
Each symbol that you write on an egg has a meaning.
The rich history behind a colorful Easter egg. Our moment is next.
No egg is the same. Everyone is unique.
They certainly look like an exquisite Easter project, but these eggs are much more than your regular holiday craft. They're called Pesinka Easter eggs, a centuries-old tradition, and as you can tell, it requires skill and patience to master. Tonight, a Calgary artist shows us her intricate process in our moment.
Each symbol that you write on an egg has a meaning, and each one I write has a special wish granted into them. So it's a very significant art for me. I'm Kathy Wright, and I am a Pesinka artist. Pesinka is the tradition of writing Ukrainian Easter eggs. My great aunt taught me. She was 99 when she passed away in 2008. She was taught by her mother before, and her mother before that. It was such a deep, meaningful tradition to do at Easter, and I'm proud to say that I'm able to carry it on. It gave me a real connection to my culture. Each egg, I would say minimum anywhere from 5 to 9 hours, depending on the size and the intricacy, but each one is done with love, care, and attention. This is the best part. You can see all the hard work, all the hours you put in, and see how it translated.
I'm sure for some of you watching, you've seen work like that before. I don't think I have. I've certainly heard about Ukrainian Easter eggs, but they are so beautiful and, as we heard already, intricate. And we heard about the hours that go into it. She makes, I think she said, about 50 a year, so that's pretty well 50 full days. It obviously takes the insides of the egg out, starts to draw, and then the slow, beautiful process. That is the National for April the 2nd. I hope you can join me on Sunday for Cross Country Checkup. That's on CBC Radio 1. It starts at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, and then later that evening back here on the National. Good night.